On today's episode, we're talking all about monthly retainers, subscription payments, or any type of recurring payment and what software you should use to offer them. So if you've been wondering, this is an episode for you. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. As you all know, Jane is the sponsor for the Up in My Business podcast. Jane is an all-in-one practice management software with helpful features like online booking, admin scheduling, integrated payments, and charting. But there's more to Jane than you may think, and it's also the best. And if you've been on my podcast or listening to my podcast, you know how much I love Jane. The team at Jane cares a lot about the problems that you face as a practitioner, and one of those problems is the prevalence of no-shows and late cancellations in your practice. So they've made it super easy for you with a few simple tools that are built right into Jane. That includes the ability to implement an online booking payment policy, send out unlimited text and email reminders. There's a bajillion options for those. They're the best. And enabling waitlist management features to fill those last-minute gaps that weren't preventable. It literally sends automated text to your people on the wait list. It's the best. So come see Jane in action at jane.app. And if you know that you're ready to sign up for Jane or want to give Jane a shot, you can use my code LEX1MO for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. Welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I'm super excited to be recording this episode today because I feel like a lot of people ask me questions about monthly payment processors and how they can offer a monthly subscription or a monthly payment for a client that they're working with, whether it's coaching or what have you. So going to jump into that in a second, going to just give a quick little couple updates, if you will. First, on the life side, Moose is getting groomed this Wednesday. So if anyone's been following the Moose and Rupert stories, Moose and Rupert are still, Rupert's underneath the bed. Moose is trying hard. No real success there yet. They looked at each other the other day. It was super successful as far as like not having an incident and no scritches, but we're still not having great success. So keep your fingers crossed that they will soon be best friends. But yeah, Moose is getting groomed. I totally just skipped that right into the Moopert because who's not excited to hear about Moopert? So right into that from Moose's grooming. But on Wednesday, she is getting groomed. Finally, she looks crazy right now. It's been like 10 weeks since she's been groomed and she looks ridiculous. So I'm super excited to get her groomed on Wednesday. Tomorrow, because I'm recording this on Saturday, so tomorrow we are headed down to San Diego to celebrate Anna Hartman and her birthday. So super excited for that. I will give you an update on all of that next week, but super excited to drive down there, playing all the volleyball tomorrow, getting some work in today, clearly, because I'm recording this on Saturday. But all in all, weather has been really, really good. I'm playing all the volleyball, really enjoying California. For those who have been asking, I feel like everyone, drops into my inbox every now and then or on calls and asking me how much I love California, and I love it. It's been the best. Truly love that I get to work and play most days, and it's just super fun. Super, super grateful that I am living here, and I love it so much. So that's really all I got for life updates. I will make sure I post pictures of Moose and all the video updates of Moopert, of course. But jumping into some business stuff, all the same things are still happening. I know that I have so many people who have DM'd me about the joint coaching with Jante and I. So I'm going to, once again, drop that landing page, that waitlist. There's no commitment to join the waitlist, but if you want to be first to notified when we do launch that, then make sure you jump on that. More to come on that. There's just some stuff going on right now that we can't necessarily sit down and plan the whole thing. So it's been piecemeal right now. So we will figure that out when you are on that wait list. You'll be the first to know all the things. So jump on that if you're interested. We are doing business coaching and tech implementation together. So super pumped about that. Also going to be opening up one more seat for my done for you SEO for brick and mortar businesses. Now I had a really good question from someone come in. They said, is it only for brick and mortar? Yes, for now. So the thing is with SEO, with brick and mortar versus online business is very different as far as the length of time it takes in order to have success with SEO. Because when you have a brick and mortar business, using your location is a huge, huge thing. So having an online business means that if I am going to work with someone on Done For You SEO, we are going to focus a lot on content. So what I'm doing now is I'm solidifying my process for brick and mortar businesses. And I have a very specific, I'm doing X, Y, and Z each month for my brick and mortar SEO retainer. And then once I solidify that process, I can bring it to online businesses as well, because the first 3 months will be the same. But thereafter is just going to be a little bit different as far as what we're doing and how we're focusing our SEO efforts. So what I'm doing is I'm nailing the brick and mortar setup first, and then I will progress into the online, potentially online Done For You SEO. This is all based on openings that I have. So once again, I treat my online business just like I treated physical therapy. I only take on a certain number of clients, and once I reach capacity, that's my capacity. So it will also depend on how much capacity I have. So when I say I have 1 seat open, it's genuinely 1 seat. It's not like a false urgency and like this limited thing that I am pretending that I have. I literally only have time for 1 more person. So to switch into online business as well as brick and mortar, it's going to be a time thing, just because I need to make sure I have the time, but also I'm solidifying processes for brick and mortar first. So using the successful things that I've done for other businesses in order to develop this retainer, and also not making it completely not affordable. So it's very transparent. I am doing the SEO retainer just like I'm doing my monthly retainers. So it will be broken into monthly payments, $597 for very specific tasks per month. So if you have any sort of interest, make sure you jump on the wait list for that. And once again, I have 1 spot. So you will know via email as soon as I decide I'm ready to open up that spot. August is a really busy month over here, so hoping that will be in September. So that is still, all the things are there for that. And then I think I'm doing checking boxes in my head. Right now, I think that's all the business updates I have for you. Going to put the same things in the show notes, so you'll see all the wait lists and all the things there. But if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. I will answer any and all the things. You can DM me, you can email me, you can drop an inquiry on my website. So looking forward to talking to you if you have questions. Now, let's jump into monthly retainers and monthly payments, subscriptions, whatever you want to call it for your business. So what I want to first start off with is this can apply to someone with a fitness membership, but it also is a coaching retainer, or like a monthly, I'm going to charge you X, Y, and Z dollars per month to come see me retainer. Now I'm going to preface this with 2 things. My 2 things that I want to say is that if you're doing a monthly membership through like a PT clinic or a brick and mortar space, I would do that through Jane. So if you're going to be doing any sort of like monthly, I'm going to have a visit a month or a manual therapy session a month and then an exercise session a month, or you're doing programming for them, I would say running that through Jane is going to be the best. Now, if you have an EMR that does that as well, cool. You can do that through your EMR, but that's what I would say for that. So that's like a Jane app thing that I would run for any sort of like brick and mortar business who is running a monthly retainer. People run it also through TrueCoach. So you can do subscriptions through TrueCoach if you're doing programming for folks. So really depends on what software you want to use. So TrueCoach or Jane. Now I'm going to give you a couple other options that will also work for programming, but my experience has been using Jane for these things. So I will tell you what I've used in my online business and what I've used in my PT business, but I know that a lot of people are doing a lot of fitness memberships or continuation containers, if you will, for their physical therapy practices. So I do want to preface the fact that you can use Jane just like you do for your appointments. You would just set up that subscription payment. But I'm also going to give you 4 options here that if you wanted to pull that outside of Jane, you could. If you didn't want to charge people through TrueCoach, you could, because there are a lot of caveats with TrueCoach. Like you can't really send over any sort of legal documents that you want with people when they sign up. And there's not really like a way to automate check-ins and all the things. So I'm going to give you options, but I also want to say that for the people who already have those 2 softwares, you can just use those. So today what we're going to talk about is 4 different softwares, or are 4 different softwares: Stripe, PayPal, Honeybook, and Acuity. So full disclosure, I've used all of these and I've done subscription payments on all of them but PayPal. So I actually have progressed in my business from going from one to the next to the next. And I will talk about that progression and what that looks like and how it was throughout the process. So the first thing I want to talk about is PayPal, just because I want to get that one out of the way because I don't really use it a lot, to be honest. I don't love PayPal because PayPal has a lot of fees. So PayPal.com, if you have PayPal, you're probably familiar with it. You can do subscription payments, so coaching, retainers, etc., through PayPal. And I think I should back up a second. So what I'm referring to here is if you have someone who's working with you on a monthly basis and you want to do a recurring transaction on a credit card or from their bank or whatever they set it up to be, but you want that to process automatically on a monthly basis. So for me, for my retainer clients or my SEO retainers, what I'm doing is I have a first of the month charge that goes through automatically. I don't have to send an invoice each month. It just happens, right? So that's what I'm referring to here. So some people will do it for coaching. So whether that's business coaching or, fitness coaching or whatever it may be, programming, if you have a monthly retainer, this is what you can use these softwares for. So a recurring monthly charge. So once again, PayPal. So PayPal, if we talk about PayPal, it is free to sign up. You can sign up as a business, which obviously you would want to do if you're a business. So signing up as a business, what you need to be aware of is that for PayPal, if someone processes a charge, so if you have a monthly subscription for $10 a month, let's just say, they charge a 2.9% fee plus 30 cents per transaction if you're located in the same country as the person who is purchasing. If you are in a different country, they charge 4.49% plus 30 cents. So their fees are higher than most processors. So I don't love using PayPal. I don't have PayPal as an option on my website for people to use just because their fees are so high. Now, if we want to talk about processing fees, I have a very strong opinion on that. You can't get around processing fees. I feel like people ask this question a lot on Facebook groups. A processing fee is a cost of doing business. So please don't be the person who's like, can I pass this fee on to my consumer? Meaning, sure, you can pass it on to them, just charge them more money. So people will oftentimes say, if you pay me in X, Y, and Z, you're not going to get charged an extra, $3. Or you would say, if you pay with a card, you're going to get charged 2.9% more. That looks really stupid. And honestly, it just doesn't feel good as a consumer to have that being a part of your business practice. Just charge them more money to begin with and cover the fees, but make it hidden, right? So I don't love when people ask that question because you can write all those off. So any sort of processing fee that you have is a business write-off because it's a cost of doing business. So you can write those off at the end of the year. So don't be the person who's like, how can I get around the payment processor fees? You can't. It just is what it is because it costs money to protect people's credit cards. That's what it comes down to, is that these processors take a risk by essentially capturing people's information and then allowing them to pay for your stuff with their software. So in order for them to do that, they have to take on a risk, which then costs them money. So I'm assuming, I'm not a banker, but I'm assuming they pay for an insurance plan, if you will, quote unquote insurance plan. I don't know, a liability plan where they say we're taking credit card information and then we are going to charge our consumers money to use that processor, and they have to pay for that. So anyway, long aside on payment processor fees, please don't be the person who tries to pass it on. Just take on the fee or charge a little bit more money to cover the fee and then write it off. So you can't avoid the payment processor fees. That's why I'm going to talk about them today. So PayPal has high fees. I've always told people that if you're going to choose between softwares, PayPal will always have a higher fee as of right now. So I have these in front of me. They could change by all means, but this is what the internet says that PayPal fees are right now. So PayPal, you can set up a recurring invoice. So on the back end of PayPal, you can set up an invoice that someone will have as a recurring subscription that goes to them or charges their card, charges their bank account, whatever, each month. So if you were to set this up, what that would look like is you would send that invoice to someone, they would type in their information, and then it would live on the back end of your PayPal account. And then if someone canceled, you just go into PayPal and you cancel their subscription. So once again, someone would talk to you, hey, I want to sign up for coaching. You set up the invoice on the back end of PayPal. You send it over to them. It's as simple as filling in their information, submitting the payment, and then it's recurring. Okay, so that is the PayPal setup. Stripe is about the same. So the same kind of setup, if you will. So if someone contacts you to coach or get coaching, you can set up a recurring payment through Stripe. Now, Stripe fees are less. So Stripe is a flat rate 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction. So that is the flat rate for Stripe fees. So you can set up a recurring payment in Stripe when someone contacts you. You would send them over an invoice. They would get it to their email, just like in PayPal. They'd open that up, fill in their information, and then you have a recurring payment or a membership, if you will, on the back end of Stripe that you can manage. So if someone wanted to cancel, you have to go in and cancel that membership. Okay, so Stripe and PayPal really work in the same fashion as far as how you're sending out that invoice and how you're sending out that recurring payment request, if you will. So once again, those are just payment processors. So Stripe and PayPal are payment processors. So you are running it through a payment processor, not a software that uses payment processors, which we're going to talk about next. So once again, Stripe and PayPal, right? They operate the same way. The fees are different, what I had just talked about. And now let's dive into software that uses those payment processors, because that's a little different. So the two softwares that I'm going to talk about are Honeybook and Acuity. So I'm going to talk about Acuity first. So Acuity is a scheduling software. You can use it as an EMR. You can use it as an appointment booking software, like I said, scheduling. And it integrates great with Squarespace. So you can also offer subscription payments on the back end of Acuity. So if you're someone who is already using Acuity for scheduling, you can then start offering these recurring payments through Acuity. The benefit of that is you're already paying for it. So Acuity has its own fees, if you will, to have the software. So for Acuity, it's either, I'm running out, $16 a month or $27 a month are the ones that I recommend. For $16, you don't get text reminders. Now, if we're just using this for subscriptions, I wouldn't do this because Acuity is not meant to just do subscriptions on. Acuity is meant to have scheduling for appointments and then whatever else you want. So it's a scheduler at heart. It is a scheduler for appointments, coaching calls, Zoom calls, all the things. That's what it is at heart. So it's not something, it's an appointment booking software. It's not something that I would get just to do subscriptions. So if you already have it and you're using it for scheduling, you can add subscriptions onto it as well. Now, it will cost you nothing different than what the Stripe payments fees are, because Acuity uses Stripe to process the payment. So again, Acuity has its own cost, which is either $16 or $27 a month. The $16 one does not include text reminders for appointments. Okay, so that's why I tell people to upgrade if they want text reminders. Now, Acuity uses Stripe or Square, but I don't like Square. I always do Stripe over Square. Acuity uses Stripe to process the payments, and they don't take extra money, which is fantastic. So once again, it's 2.9% plus 30 cents for each successful transaction. So you can take Acuity if you're already using it for scheduling and then use it for actually processing your subscriptions. So again, I would not use this to just have subscription payments. It would only be if I already am using it for scheduling or an EMR or whatever, and then I'm adding a subscription payment to it or to my services. Okay, so that's Acuity. Now, Honeybook is a whole other, I'm going to call it management system. So Honeybook is a platform that allows you to take everything that you have, if you will, a contract, a payment, an intro, a welcome to my X, Y, and Z, here's my services, select which one you want, pay for it, and then sign the contract and set up your payment. It's an all-in-one type platform. So Honeybook is what I use now. But let's talk about Honeybook and when you would start to use Honeybook and why I love it myself. So Honeybook has its own cost just like Acuity because it's a software that uses a payment processor. However, the good thing about Honeybook is that it uses its own payment processor and it has decent fees. So it's good fees, just like Stripe. So with Honeybook, it costs either $12 or $25 per month if you're on the yearly plan. And I have a discount for you. So if you're going to try Honeybook, please use my discount code. Yes, it is an affiliate link. Yes, I do there's a kickback if you use my code, but it will get you half off, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But the payment processing fees are actually a little bit lower than Stripe. So it's 2.9% plus 25 cents per transaction. Now, HoneyBook, the reason why HoneyBook is so awesome in my opinion is because you can attach a lot of things to the payment. So when you send in a payment through any of the software that I just said to you, the Acuity, HoneyBook, PayPal, Acuity, not HoneyBook, PayPal, and Stripe, when you send an invoice through that for a subscription, you're not able to attach a lot of things to it. So it's not like, here's an intro packet, here's what you're getting, here's the contract for our coaching services, here's a setup, and here's a thing for next steps. There's no way to do that on any of those softwares. Only HoneyBook does that. So yes, you can have a waiver with Acuity if you really wanted to, but it still doesn't look like HoneyBook does. So with HoneyBook, the benefit of that is that it's not too expensive. I mean, it's only $12 or $25 a month, just like Acuity. And then with a discount, it's even less, and their fees are good, but it allows you to do a lot of things that make it look really legit. So like, that's why I love HoneyBook, because you're able to send over a packet that says, hey, welcome to my coaching services. I'm so excited to get to work with you. Here's the breakdown of my coaching services. And then the people get to click the next page and it says, here's a breakdown of everything you're going to get. Please sign this contract. It's a coaching contract because I'm not a lawyer, but having a coaching contract is super ideal and you should have one because it lays out the expectations for both people. So here's your contract, set up your monthly payment on the next page. And then on the next page, it might say, here's your next steps and what to expect. So HoneyBook allows you to have this very put together process for each of these subscription payments, if you will. And the fees are not bad and the cost of the software is not terrible. So I love HoneyBook. HoneyBook is my number one choice. Not just because like I'm an affiliate for HoneyBook and I'm a HoneyBook Pro, but because it's been completely monumental in automating a lot of my business. So I do want to throw in one little aside. Some people will compare HoneyBook and Dubsado. So Dubsado, if you've never heard that word, just ignore this, but Dubsado and HoneyBook are different in that HoneyBook allows you to do monthly payments. Dubsado does not. So that's the only thing I'm going to go into with Dubsado and HoneyBook. But if you're someone who has looked into both softwares, the reason why I use HoneyBook over Dubsado is one, I just like the software better, but two, it allows me to have that automatic transaction each month. And that's why I needed the software to begin with. So that's HoneyBook. So now I'm just going to break down the process in my business and what I've done throughout my business because I have done a lot of these except for PayPal. So when I first started any sort of subscription payment back in 2021, I started through Stripe. So I had a few people on a monthly retainer through Stripe and I would send over the invoice. They'd have the recurring invoice. If they needed to cancel, I would cancel it. Then I moved over to Acuity because I was using that for scheduling and I still do. So I was using that for scheduling and I said, well, I'm already paying for this software. I might as well just use the subscription payments there. Put all of my retainer clients from 2021 and through 2022, almost halfway through 2022 on Acuity. And I still have some people who have their retainer payment through Acuity. So that's what I moved on to next. And then in late 2022, I started using HoneyBook. So I have actually used all of these softwares in my business and each of them has served the purpose that they needed to serve. So for instance, when I was using Stripe only, that was what I knew. It was easy. It allowed me to start. When I moved to Acuity, I was already using it for scheduling. It allowed me to just have things in one place. And then when I moved into HoneyBook, it simply just automated everything. So the big reason that I moved from Acuity to HoneyBook for automation was because my payment processor and my subscription payments was because I wanted things to be automated. So what I found was I was sending the same email, the same welcome email, the same here's what you're signing up for, the same email over and over and over again. And I was like, can I automate this so I don't need to send it again? Like, can I make this a good onboarding process? So when I wanted an onboarding process for people and all I had to do was click a few buttons and it sends over a brochure and it sends over exactly what you're getting and the agreement and the contract, all the things. When I wanted that, when I felt like I needed that, I went to HoneyBook. So I am the person who was like, I am going to start with Stripe because it allows me to get started. And now I'm on HoneyBook because it simply just allows me to automate things. So there is that continuum, if you will, of services. It's like, well, I started here and now I'm here simply because I found that I needed more. So you don't have to start with HoneyBook if you don't want to. You can start with something else as it gets started. And I want to be very clear in that I'm still using Acuity. So even though I have HoneyBook and HoneyBook offers scheduling, it offers all the things, I am using Acuity for scheduling simply because I like it better. So I'm now paying for more software applications because I want both of those things and I want the features that both of them have. So I am using both. So if you're someone who's like, I don't want to pay for both, cool. You can totally run most things through Acuity or HoneyBook. They both have scheduling, they both have payment, they both have all the things. But for what it's worth, I am using HoneyBook and Acuity. Acuity is all of my coaching calls, all of my scheduling, any sort of discovery call, any sort of monthly retainer call, any Zoom call, I'm scheduling through Acuity. HoneyBook is simply my automated onboarding process for all of my interactions with clients. So for a do it in a day, for any sort of SEO work, for any sort of monthly retainer, for any SEO retainer, I am running all of that through HoneyBook just because it allows me to have that agreement and a very laid out process, onboarding process for people to have. And anything I'm sending an invoice for, it just looks nice. It's branded. I love it. So that's why I use HoneyBook. So if you're someone who's looking to offer a monthly subscription, we talked about 4 things today: Stripe, PayPal, HoneyBook, and Acuity. I'm not going to be the person to tell you to change your whole process, but I'm here to just give you options. So the options that exist are those 4. Yes, there's more, of course, but these are the 4 that I typically will talk to people about and recommend. Once again, Stripe and PayPal are what we call payment processors. Acuity and HoneyBook are software, or they are software applications that use payment processors like Stripe and PayPal to process the payments. So just keep in mind, those are 2 different things. So when you're looking to choose a software, the first thing that I would look at is, does it integrate with other things I'm using? So HoneyBook and Acuity both integrate with ConvertKit, which is my email marketing software, and they integrate with my website very well. So I know that that's a good choice for me. They integrate with Squarespace. A great choice. HoneyBook, I can embed forms, and Acuity, I can embed my scheduler, and I can pull email subscribers to ConvertKit for people who sign up for calls and whatnot through HoneyBook and Acuity. And I love that. So first thing to look for is, does it integrate? Second thing is, what do I want to pay? What do I want the investment to be to use that software, right? Because I recognize that that is a thing and you need to make sure that you're not obviously going in the red to operate your business. 2, understand that payment processor fees are not going to go away, and just embrace them and accept them and understand that you're going to have to pay them. 4, we're just looking to see what stage of business you're in, and do you just need to get started, or do you need a completely or almost completely automated process? Do you need an onboarding process? Do you need it to be super simple so you can just start? Or are you at a point in your business where you can use something a little bit more intricate and spend time on the setup, because then you can have a more automated process in the end? So when you're choosing that software, think about those things, and then understand if you're going to choose something, you're going to have to spend some time setting it up. So once again, PayPal and Stripe, it's not really a lot of setup time. HoneyBook and Acuity, a little bit more setup time than those other softwares. So that's what I got for you for monthly payments, monthly transactions, monthly subscriptions, any sort of recurring payment that you're trying to offer. All 4 of those allow for all of those things. They allow for invoicing. If you're just doing a one-time invoice, we didn't talk about that today, but all of them allow for invoicing, and they allow for that monthly recurring invoice. So either a one-time or recurring option. So those are the 4 softwares that I recommend. Once again, if you want to try HoneyBook, I do have a discount. I'll put it in the show notes. Acuity and HoneyBook both link perfectly with my favorite software, Squarespace and ConvertKit. So that's all I got for you. Please let me know if you have questions. I know this is a lot. I know it's a topic that a lot of people have questions about, so want to make sure I address those things. I will look out for your questions if you have them. And then, I think that's it. And once again, I will show you pictures of Moose when she gets groomed. I know a lot of people love to see it. So looking forward to sharing that with you this week. And I am so grateful that you tuned into this episode. I will catch you next week. Thank you so much.